Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and Friday's calendar.
Hello, thanks very much for joining us, and here are tonight's main stories.
Have you got anything on your person that I need to know about? Okay, do us a favour and come towards us.
Terror at St James's the moment police move in on a hospital worker who had murderous plans for doctors, nurses and patients.
There's a bag there that's got a bomb in it.
What's in it?
There's a bomb inside.
There's a bomb inside
But
it.
it's not live, it's not live.
It's not what?
It's
A
not
bomb
live.
inside it, but it's not live. What is it? What's it made from?
Pressure
A pressure cooker. And what's in it?
So it's not live.
gunpowder.
There's gunpowder in a pressure cooker.
I'm outside Sheffield Crown Court, where Mohammed Farouk was jailed for life today. He'll serve at least 37 years behind bars.
Also tonight, breaking boundaries, how the Prime Minister waded in on a row over stray cricket balls at this West Yorkshire club.
The regulator was not properly consulted on the power of cricket balls.
Well, we weren't very happy, to be honest with you. Maybe he might just take it a bit more seriously and think about it before he makes rash comments.
Original Emmerdale. To celebrate 70 years of ITV, we look back to the first ever episode of Yorkshire's favourite soap.
And Sheffield is alive with the sound of music. I'm on a choir crawl for the beginning of Sheffield's classical weekend.
But first, to the medical worker turned lone wolf terrorist who's been jailed for plotting a major bomb attack at one of Yorkshire's largest hospitals.
Mohammed Farouk, who's now 29, took a homemade pressure cooker bomb to St James's in Leeds, where he worked as part of a plan to kill as many nurses as possible in January 2023.
Today, a judge at Sheffield Crown Court described him as an isolated individual who decided to carry out an atrocity. Our reporter Jonathan Brown's live for us outside the court right now. So, Jonathan, it sounds like a tragedy was averted on that particular day.
Yes, that's right, Laura. Inside today's hearing, it became very apparent just how close Mohammed Farouk came to executing his plan. He'd plotted to murder colleagues at the hospital where he worked, the same hospital where he was born and the very same place where his second child was due to be born just days after his arrest. Farouk had shoulder-length hair and a thick beard. He was flanked by 5 separate security guards, as he was told today that he will serve at least 37 years behind bars. That's news today that Leeds Teaching Hospitals has said will help it continue to move on from what's been an extremely difficult time.
Do us a favour and come towards us.
He came to commit mass murder at a Yorkshire hospital, but left in handcuffs.
Come to the bonnet here, mate.
This was the moment Mohammed Farouk surrendered to police after months spent plotting a terror attack, targeting people he felt had wronged him.
Cheers, pal. Just going to take hold of your hands, all right, pal? You got a gun? Somewhere?
Casually telling police where his gun was, the then 26-year-old was armed with much more. Namely, a homemade bomb stuffed with almost 10 kilograms of explosive powder that he'd pulled from £600 worth of fireworks.
What is it? What's it made from?
Pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker.
Today, Sheffield Crown Court was told Farouk was a clinical support worker at the hospital, but he'd stopped coming in, blaming colleagues for his failure to qualify as a nurse. All the while, he'd become fixated on Islamic extremist propaganda. But the hospital was not his first target. In the weeks prior, he'd made multiple reconnaissance trips to RAF Menwith Hill near Harrogate. Though after deciding it wasn't possible to gain access, prosecutors said St James's became his plan B. He texted a colleague saying, "I have placed a pressure cooker bomb on J28. It will detonate in 1 hour. Let's see how many lives you can save." The court heard how he hoped that text would prompt an evacuation of this hospital where he'd be lying in wait outside. It was at that point that he planned to detonate the bomb, attack people with knives and then draw out his imitation firearm when police arrived in the hope that they would shoot him dead. But because the person he texted wasn't in work and didn't see the message until later, the evacuation didn't happen. And after going into the hospital to scout out an alternative, he met a patient called Nathan Newby, who talked him down.
So if I had walked into you, what were your intentions? To let off inside.
Mr Newby even borrowed Farouk's phone to call 999.
He was just about to kill a lot of people.
Mr Newby was described in court today as an extraordinary, ordinary man. As the judge jailed a man she said was a dangerous offender.
As a radicalised extremist who does not accept the jury's verdict, I am sure that you do present precisely that risk. This is a case in which it is necessary to impose a sentence of life imprisonment.
Counter-terror police said today that Farouk came dangerously close to harming innocent people. His failure to do so, they say, was the result of the selfless bravery of others. Jonathan Brown, ITV News, Sheffield Crown Court.
Some more news from around the region, and 3 people have been charged after a fight broke out and a knife was found at Doncaster College. Officers were called at around 12:30 on Wednesday to reports of an altercation between a group of males. The school was evacuated. 1 person suffered a minor hand injury. 3 other people who were arrested, 2 boys aged 17 and an 18-year-old man, have been released with no further action.
Fire chiefs are warning people to avoid Marsden Moor this evening as a large blaze there continues to burn. Flames measuring 50 square kilometres are spreading west towards Greater Manchester. The public is being told to avoid the Pennine Way near Castleshore Upper Reservoir as well as Denshaw Moor. 15 crews are currently fighting the fire which started near March Hay Reservoir. Now, whether it's too much noise, pollution or even protected wildlife, we've all heard plenty of reasons why planning rows can rumble on, but it's rare that the hold-up is down to flying cricket balls.
Well, it seems that's what's happening in Bingley, where a risk assessment needs to be carried out before anyone can move into more than 100 new flats being built right by the boundary of a cricket club.
And now the Prime Minister has weighed in, saying that it's an example of planning rules gone mad. But the cricket club has hit back, telling him he might not quite have his facts right. So Michael Billington is at Cross Flats Cricket Club for us tonight. Michael, what on earth is going on?
Well, Laura, it's the first outdoor training of the year for the junior teams here at Cross Flats because their first fixtures of the season are only a couple of weeks away. But over the last few days, this club, in a way, has become a victim of its own success. The senior team's batting is so on point that planning officials are insisting on a cricket ball risk assessment to be carried out before anyone is allowed to move into the flats that are being converted over the fence here. So when the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, weighed in last week describing it as a delay, well, the club here, they were knocked for 6.
This side of the wicket, left side of the wicket.
They described their style of cricket as more power hitting than forward defensive, more Harry Brook than Geoffrey Boycott. But now, perhaps for the first time, they've been forced into making a defensive play.
Don't worry, it's okay. Go again.
In an open letter, the club have said they're not the baddies after this from Sir Keir Starmer.
There's a office conversion in Bingley, which, as you know, is in Yorkshire. That is an office conversion that will create 139 homes. But now the future of that is uncertain because the regulator was not properly consulted on the power of cricket balls.
Just beyond the boundary here is Air Valley House, potentially within range of a well-struck cricket ball. Experts have already assessed the risk of any residents being hit by a rogue ball, but until that's signed off by the council, no one can move in. What did you think when you heard the Prime Minister making these comments about your cricket club?
Well, we weren't very happy, to be honest with you, because I don't really think he appreciates the seriousness of what can happen on a cricket field and how close this development is to our cricket field. And there's a lot of ex-county players playing the Bradford Premier League who are well capable of hitting that building to our right over there, yeah. Maybe he might just take it a bit more seriously and think about it before he makes rash comments.
The club say there's been no delay to building work and insist they are playing ball with developers.
We're not opposed to the housing. We've no problem with that. There's room for housing as well, but there's serious implications to cricket clubs. You know, there's financial implications if vehicles or property get damaged, and more importantly, safety of people. If a person gets struck by somebody with a ball, you know, it's going to have some bad consequences.
The Prime Minister said he wanted to push back against the blockers who delay developments, but the club say accusing them of that is just not cricket. Michael Billington, ITV News in Bingley.
Good bit of fielding there. I'm sure you'll have lots of views on that one. Do let us know what you think. You're watching Friday's calendar with Ian White and Lara Rostron. Stay with us because still to come.
Aren't you going to burial?
Think I should, do you?
Is they dead?
Aye, is that?
To celebrate 70 years of ITV, we dig out the first ever episode of Emmerdale Farm and see what else we find in the archives.
And looking back at this week's weather, we've not done too badly at all. Plenty of sunshine, some decent temperatures and lovely sunrise and sunsets. I'll try and be positive about the weekend. All the detail a little later on.
See you shortly, Kerry. Thank you. Now the next to the 12-year fight to reopen Sheffield's dry ski slope, with campaigners sensing they could be on the home straight.
It's been announced that around £20 million will be spent transforming the city's old ski village at Neatsend into a country park with better access and mountain bike paths.
And the push to include a new slope there is gathering pace, with pledges of it boosting local business and opening up opportunities too. Matt Price reports.
They are determined, if nothing else. How was that?
It was okay, but it needs a bit of work, to be fair.
Meet the campaigners who are facing something of an uphill battle to have this once thriving dry ski slope in Sheffield reopened.
What are your memories of this place?
That was cracking. Yeah, brilliant.
Pete is heading up the campaign and has fond memories of the fun and the falls on this slope.
So where we are here, we'll probably be going about 30 miles an hour, just getting ready to fall over on that corner there. And if not, if you were still upright, you were getting ready to go fast. It was a good laugh.
This team of supporters is welcoming news of a £20 million regeneration of Parkwood Springs, with the money coming from central government. There are high hopes from professional racers that a ski slope will be included.
Yeah, so artificial ski slopes are a real route into for people into snow sports. It's affordable, it's accessible, you know, kids can go from school. A snow sports venue in Sheffield is a great asset for the city. It was a great asset and it should again be a great asset for the city.
The site closed 12 years ago and has been damaged in a series of fires. Those who live and work nearby remember the plumes of smoke so well.
It was just one of those things where people like, it's on fire again, and you could just see it from the city, and it was just like, oh no, is it ever gonna like stop?
It's quite upsetting, quite depressing to see the burnt out remains of the ski slope here. The metal matting is uneven, it's rusted, and there are still remnants of the felt-like substance which covered it. A lot of money needs spending here. So passionate are the people here, they've made a video supporting their cause. The campaign film is being shown at Sheffield's Adventure Film Festival this weekend.
I only saw it for the first time about a week ago because they've been working on it literally right up to the last minute. But it's got some really great archive footage of people skiing and jumping and flipping and the rest of it in the old ski village as it was. And it's a really good reminder of what we did have.
Sheffield City Council say their plans breathe new life into this site, a country park in the city for residents and visitors. There'll no doubt be bumps along the way, but campaigners say this is a step or slide in the right direction. Matt Price, ITV News, Sheffield.
We'll keep an eye on that story and let you know what happens, of course. Now then, how about this? Hollywood superstar Will Smith's been talking about his excitement to visit Scarborough as part of his world tour.
Scarborough, Cardiff, Manchester, London. It's going to be hot.
It's the first time the actor and rapper has toured on his own. He'll be playing the Scarborough Open Air Theatre on the 24th of August, one of just 5 dates in the UK. Well, tickets went on sale today.
Yeah, we'll have to teach him how to say Scarborough, won't we? Scarborough. Now, 2025 is a special year for all of us here at ITV. In September, we'll be celebrating our 70th birthday, and throughout the year, we're going to be looking back at programmes and stories that we've brought into your homes.
Well, ITV, of course, started as a network of regional-based companies, and most of the programmes they made over the years are actually stored here at our studio complex in Leeds, former home, of course, to Yorkshire Television. It's a real treasure trove, and I've been for a look around.
So this is the start of our master vaults. We store around 1 million assets on site.
Wow. Andy, what an amazing place this is. ITV's 70th birthday, and I think nothing symbolises that more than the archive, and what a great place this is, and what a privilege to work in it.
It is a privilege, yeah, and first of all, it's a vast archive. We've got over 1 million tapes on site, a couple 100,000 film cans. It's all the different regional companies, and of course it's the home of Yorkshire TV as well. We have so much footage from the region throughout the years, whether it be Calendar or Emmerdale or Wicker's World, and all that wonderful programming that Yorkshire made over the years. It's all here.
Including the first ever Emmerdale farm. Like today, the Woolpack very much at its heart, but perhaps slightly gentler storylines than today's.
He's not been as good a son as he ought. I'll give you that.
Andy, this is amazing. It all looks so familiar, and I can't believe that this is actually the original film.
Indeed, this is episode 1 from December 1960 of Coronation Street, and really this is some of our crown jewels that we've got in the archive. This is an original 16mm tele-recorded.
Tanners of number 11, I remember that. Oh, hello, Linda. Not gone back then yet? I brought you some empties. Oh, and I want a quarter boiled ham.
And presumably the people who were appearing in this first episode of Coronation Street had no idea just what a great thing it was going to become, and it would run and run for years and years.
Yeah, I doubt very much we'd be thinking it'd be running 65 years later.
Oh, sauce, Kenny?
No, no, thank you.
Oh, but I got it specially. You always loved it when you was little.
Did I?
And colour film of the actual crown jewels captured by ITC during the Queen's coronation in 1953 and recently acquired by ITV. But preserving the vast history kept here is now the main goal.
We, as an archive, are working very hard towards digitising basically everything from videotape. That's going to take us the next couple of years because there's so much to do. So we've got our work cut out in that, and then we're going to be moving on to film as a format and look at how we can preserve that for the next 70 years.
And when you're digitising a tape, then you've got to run it in real time, is that right? So it takes that long to do it?
Yeah, so we estimate it's around 250,000 hours, so that's how long it's going to take.
Wow, a big job. You'll have square eyes.
I already am.
Oh, you see, there we go. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, you were like a kid in a sweetie shop there in the archive,
I could have
weren't
spent
you?
hours in there.
Yeah,
absolutely could have spent hours in there. Right, well, let's have some sport now. And Leeds Rhinos star Ryan Hall will play his 500th career game this weekend. The 37-year-old winger, seen on the left here, has won everything in the game since making his debut back in 2007. The competition's leading try scorer, though, says he's not bothered about the personal achievement and is more focused about beating Wigan on Saturday.
Leeds versus Wigan is always a big occasion for both teams, no matter what circumstances, if teams going well or not well. But Leeds versus Wigan, they're both big clubs, and it means a lot to both teams. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to obviously put the accolades to one side and just get on with what's, in the end of the day, it's 80 minutes of rugby league.
OK, you may have heard of a pub crawl, of course you have, but have you heard of a choir crawl? Tonight in Sheffield, singers from across the city will be bursting into song in one location before upping sticks to another location and doing it all over again.
Well, it's all part of Sheffield's Classical Weekend, which features a vast array of local talent in what's being billed as a celebration of Steel City music makers. Well, Adam Fowler is live at Leah's Yard for us, and I think we can hear a little bit of singing now.
Doesn't it sound marvellous? I feel ever so rude speaking over the top of it, but here we are. This is the choir crawl, and it's all kicking off Sheffield's Classical Weekend. Here's Joe Towler to tell us more. Joe, what's all this about then?
It's a load of singing in Sheffield, that's what's happening. This is, rather than having a pub crawl on a Friday night, we're doing a choir crawl all around the city centre this evening and the launch of Classical Music Weekend here in Sheffield.
And these guys only got together and rehearsed a week ago.
A week ago, but we love to sing and one rehearsal, and then we're just taking it all around the city, bringing the city to life with live music.
And tell us a little bit about Classical Weekend here in Sheffield itself.
Classical Weekend is a chance for the dozens and dozens and hundreds of music makers in Sheffield to showcase all the music that they do all year round, with loads of free events all across the city in Winter Garden, Leah's Yard, Orchard Square. Wherever you come in the city centre, there'll be some live music happening for free that anybody can just come along and join in with.
And listen, Classical Weekend, interviewing somebody like yourself, I thought, time to dust off the old cravat. But you don't have to be posh like me to take part in all this, do you?
Nope, I'm not wearing a cravat, absolutely not. There's events whether you are young or old, whether for tiny tots or whatever. We're putting on an opera in a basketball court, you know. This is just something for everybody in this coming weekend. Go to the Classical Sheffield website and you find out about the 50-odd events that are happening.
And there's such a wealth of talent here, isn't there? There's the Sheffield Philharmonic, the Aberdale Singers. What are you looking forward to most of all?
I'm playing myself in a concert tomorrow. We've got an orchestra being accompanied by some dancers in Victoria Hall, and then of course the Carmen in a basketball court. How can you not miss that, really?
And a lot of this is free, isn't it?
A lot of it is free. All the events across the city centre are free, and even the ones that are in venues, some of them start as little as £5, so hopefully making it accessible for everybody.
Fantastic. Well, Joe, thank you very much for your time. There you go, you know, a funny old thing when you think about it. Music, you can't see it, you can't touch it, but here it is, all around us. Magic, really. Ponder on that, or just close your eyes and listen to the beautiful sounds of the Choir Crawl Choir.
They've just finished. Oh, well, never mind. They sounded good from what we heard, didn't they?
Yeah,
brilliant.
Weren't they wonderful?
Yeah, it was
You
amazing.
might be able to join in.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah, I thought they were brilliant, especially because they've only been going a week. One rehearsal, amazing.
Yeah,
You're a bit of a singer, aren't you?
I do like to sing, but I'm not going to do that on the telly box. We'll stick to the weather, I think. Oh, it was lovely yesterday, wasn't it? It was warm enough, that sun, to create some thermals, so warm air, basically little columns of warm air, allowing these hang gliders to stay aloft. That's on my bucket list. I don't know about you two. I would absolutely love to go hang gliding, and what better place? Winnets Pass in Derbyshire. A big thank you to Mick. Today, it was still relatively warm, but plenty more cloud around as a backdrop to the Crooked Spire there in Chesterfield, and Matthew Makepeace spotted these momentous clouds in the skies on his delivery round from Ilkley towards Addingham. Momentous clouds obviously indicating up and down drafts. Sort of indicating what's going to happen as we head towards the weekend. We've got low pressure in charge. We are going to see some showers in the mix for the weekend. The good news is that it's been really dry. Some parts of our region, in fact all parts of our region, have had less than 20% of the rainfall. It's really dry out there. We could do with a bit of rain. But the good news is high pressure rebuilds into next week. What other good news can I tell you? Well, actually the pollen has been quite high today. It's alder and willow at the moment, but that too will dip over the next few days down to low by Sunday. Here is your full forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, although a little bit more in the way of hazy sunshine across the region today, some decent temperatures and another sign of spring. The dragons are out at Peas Park. A big thank you to crafty Alfredo for the shot. And first thing this morning, after a somewhat chilly start in rural spots, some low cloud and a cloudier story in general as we head into the weekend. The temperatures will take a dip over the coming few days, back down to near normal, and there are showers in the mix from this evening all the way through the weekend. Some of them can merge to longer spells of rain. They could be heavy at times, maybe even thundery with some gusty winds, but there will be some sunshine in between. So this was the story so far today. Quite unsettled for southern and western parts of the UK. For us, just an increasing cloud as we moved into the afternoon. As we move into this evening, higher risk of some showers, could be on the heavy side, working their way from south to north during the first part of the evening and later on into the early hours. And as we head towards dawn, some low clouds hugging the hills, particularly over the Pennines, and temperature-wise, lifting, if anything, 9s and 10s, certainly for towns and cities, a mild night to come. As we head into tomorrow, 6:05 and 6:23 are your sun times. A lot of cloud around tomorrow, certainly during the morning, some showery outbreaks. Into the afternoon, there will be a much better chance of getting some sunshine, but in turn, the risk of some showers, and they could be heavy, potentially thundery. We're still in the mild air, 15, 16, maybe a 17 Celsius. But a different story as we head into Sunday. Perhaps showers tomorrow night, but it will become a little drier for Sunday, but quite a lot of cloud and feeling cooler.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go, messy tomorrow, drier on Sunday. And this is the photo of the day, a heron in Huddersfield. A big thank you to Douglas Clayton for sharing. Thanks for all your photos this week.
Lovely, that rounds the week up nicely, doesn't it?
It does.
Thanks very much for watching.
Yeah, have a great weekend, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Good night.